Barcelona struggle with low blocks and this game was no different. It took 65 minutes for Ferran Torres to break the deadlock before Lamine Yamal sealed the victory with the last kick of the game. But in between those two events, something remarkable happened that maybe shouldn't have. It was a miracle that meant that Barcelona finished this game in normal time to book a place in the quarterfinal of the Copa del Rey. Now in this video we are going to talk about the tactics that decided the game, but I'll also be revealing the hidden details and warning signs that Barcelona just can't ignore going into the second half of the season. So sit back and let's dive in. Now, Barcelona started in the usual 4-2-3-1 with Hansi Flick opting to go for a midfield trio of Marc Casado, Marc Bernal and Dani Olmo, indicating a willingness to give up control of the midfield in favour of a more direct approach in attack. Now, Racing on the other hand started in a 4-4-2, opting for a more balanced attacking system. In defence, however, they'd have Suleiman tuck into the left-back position to transform into a 5-3-2. This extra man meant that Balde and Rashford were kept relatively quiet on the flanks. So naturally, Barcelona were forced to try to penetrate on the right side of attack, mainly through Koundé and Lamine Yamal. But despite Lamine's passes into Koundé, the Frenchman's crosses on the night were often underwhelming, and even on the rare occasion that they got through, Racing's low block meant that Ferran Torres was completely outnumbered and isolated in the box, and we just didn't have enough bodies in to threaten the defence. Now, because we didn't have the control of Frenkie or Pedri in the midfield, Hansi Flick tried to bypass the usual build-up by going long from the back into the runners whenever Racing pushed up the pitch. But even those were failing as we just didn't have the quality in defence to pick out a pass. So we lacked penetration in the flanks and creativity in the midfield. This was the perfect recipe for a stalemate. From a Racing perspective though, everything was going according to plan. And that's how we ended the first half. Now, coming into the second half, Racing made their first substitution, bringing on Manex Lozano for Carlos Arana. But it was Barcelona that started with more intent. You see, Hansi Flick had recognised that Racing's left-back Mario Garcia was already on a yellow card. That made him Racing's most vulnerable player on the pitch, so he asked Lamine Yamal to take the game to him, put him under pressure and force him into more mistakes. He's not going to go hard on you because he knows he's running on thin ice, and it was working. Lamine Yamal started to cause Racing all sorts of trouble down the left, but somehow Racing stayed strong. We needed a bit more urgency, so in the 57th minute, Fermin comes on for Marc Bernal. This meant we went into a 4-3-3 with Fermin and Dani Olmo playing as the two central attacking midfielders, which made sense because with Racing playing in a low block, we didn't really need two pivots. So how did this work? Well, Fermin did exactly what he was brought on to do, inject pace and energy and ensure that Barcelona moved the ball quickly. And that's exactly how we got the breakthrough. Now, we starts off from Joan Garcia making a save. Racing had just gone on the attack. Joan Garcia realises they'd pushed up, so there was an opportunity to get in behind. He releases the ball to Dani Olmo. Now, look at the point when Dani Olmo wants to make the switch. There's 6 Racing players in Barcelona's half. By the time Fermin receives the ball, they're trying to get back in shape. That is when the defending team is most vulnerable. It's also the sort of situation that Ferran Torres loves. So Fermin recognises this. As soon as he sees the run off Ferran, he plays him in with this beautiful through ball. Ferran Torres does well to get on the end of it, goes round the goalkeeper, slots in calmly. Barcelona break the deadlock 1-0. Now here's the important part that I wanted to point out, and I'm going to use these 3 players. Now usually when Barcelona come up against the low block, it's usually a struggle to break the opposition down. And then we eventually get the breakthrough, they come out in search of an equaliser and we hit them on the counter to finish off the game. Now, looking at the way that this game ended, you could be tempted to argue that that was the case, but no, it actually wasn't. It was far from it, actually. You see, besides all of the formations and tactics, there is always the devil in the detail. And that, for me, is the psychology of the players. It's their state of mind in relation to the circumstances surrounding the game at any moment. In this game, I thought the psychology of the Barcelona players towards the end of the game was off. We sort of checked out. We lacked the presence of mind to construct the perfect counter-attack and kill off the game. It just seemed like we wanted to be done with this game as soon as possible and move on to Sociedad on Sunday. But football doesn't work that way. You have to be present in the moment, taking it one game at a time. And it seemed like a few players weren't present, and it showed. The game became a lot more topsy-turvy, and that never suits the team that's trying to see out the game. Pedri for me was the only one with the right psychology and focus needed to help us maintain control. And he did his best to give us that until this silly error almost sent us into extra time. And then of course, the man you look to when all else fails, Joan Garcia pulls off a miracle. Now, I can't say that I was surprised, because when I saw this chance, to be honest, something deep down just made me a bit confident that Joan Garcia was going to make a save. Such is the confidence that this man has brought to our backline. What is it now, 7 clean sheets since his return? Well, he pulls off this magnificent save, and then literally with the last attack of the game, Barcelona eventually get the clinch out that seals off the game. Now, it starts from this brilliant pass from Eric Garcia into Lamine Yamal. But guys, remember what we said about Lamine. This is the difference between superstars and average players. As long as they are on the pitch, they're always a threat to the opposition. This is why Flick left him on. 95 minutes of play, and this is after a difficult game against Real Madrid on Sunday. He still had the awareness and willingness to make this run. The pass from Garcia is brilliant. Lamine takes the ball all the way into the box. Now, the first pass into Lewandowski is poor, but Rafinha always full of running. He follows up, gets to the ball, and then selfishly squares it for Lamine, who has the awareness and composure to get there before the defender and tuck it home. Barcelona go 2-0 up, game over. But still, I just wonder what would have happened if Joan Garcia failed to make this save. Well, I guess we'll never know, and we are through to the quarterfinals. Real Madrid are out, and now we can turn our attention to Real Sociedad this Sunday. But don't forget to leave your comments down below. Tell me what you thought of this performance. Please forgive my croaky voice, because I'm still recovering from the flu. If you aren't subscribed yet, do go ahead and subscribe, as you are helping the channel grow. Until next time, guys, see you soon, and Visca El Barça.